Now we will cover the second conditional. Good. The form of the second conditional, it's always if plus the simple past, like if I had time, and then we use would, could, should, or might. Might means maybe, it's possible. Good. So we use an auxiliary of the conditional. Good. For example, if I say, if I had time, I would help you. Good. So we use that to mention that it's not possible for me to help you. Good. It's like, if I had time, I would help you. I wish I could, but I can't. Good. So if we review a little bit, the first conditional we used, in the first conditional, I would say, for example, if I have time, I use the present. If I have time, I will help you. And then the future. You remember that form. If I have time, I will help you. Good. So it's not sure that I will have time, but if I do, I will help you. So in that situation, this is possible that I have time. It could be possible. Good. But if I say, if I had time, I would help you, it's more something that I imagine. Good. So that means that, sorry, right now I don't have time. Good. But in the opposite, I would help you. Good. So the situation is still in present, but we want to express something different. That means that it's not possible for me. Good. Sometimes we use the second conditional to express a wish or a desire, something we would love to have. Like, if I won the lottery, I would travel around the world. Good. This is more like a wish. Good. I know that right now, well, the chances that I win the lottery are not that high. So it's more something in my imagination. If I won the best of win, I would travel around the world. So we use would, the auxiliary of the conditional, plus the base form, I would travel. Good. So now I will share my computer to give you more examples. You see, same as in the first conditional, we have a condition with if, but in that case, we use the simple past. Good. And then the other part of the sentence is a result. So what I would do if I had my condition. Good. Always the same form. Now the first example, we say, if I were you, I would set up a conference room. Good. Maybe you notice that if I were, usually we don't say that in English. Huh? Usually in the past, we say I was. Like when I was a student, when I was young, when I was, etc. Good. We use was. This is the usual form of the verb to be in the past. Good. But we have an exception. In the second conditional, like in all the conditional forms with if, we always conjugate the verb to be as were. We never use was. It's possible that in conversation you hear people saying, if I was. This is something that we say in the spoken language, the language of the street. Yes, but when we write, or well, the correct form of saying it would be were all the time. Okay? So if I were you, I would set up the conference room. Good. Obviously, I am not you, so this is an impossible situation. That's why we use the second conditional. And then we say, if we had time, we would distribute some flyers, or we could distribute some flyers. Okay? So if we had time, well, that means that right now we have no time. Good? But we could distribute. This is something that we could do. It would be possible. Okay? Now, if he paid more, the employees might be happier. If he paid more, again, so we imagine a different situation. If they came earlier, they should wipe the floor. Okay? So if they came earlier, great. Now, as in the first conditional, it is possible to inverse the two parts of the sentences and the meaning would be the same. Okay? So I would set up the conference room if I were you. We could distribute some flyers if we had time. The employees might be happier if he paid more, and they should wipe the floor if they came earlier. Okay, that's all good. Now, if we check at the use of the second conditional, it's like, as I told you a bit earlier, so my situation is impossible. It's not possible to do right now. Okay, that's why we say an impossible result. Good, so the result cannot be reached in the present or in the immediate future. Like, if I had time means I don't have time. Okay, and then we express it also as a wish or a desire, like my example, if I won the lottery, I would travel around the world. Good? More like a wish than something possible in my present or immediate future. Then we can see more examples. If they didn't have any emergency to fix, they would be available for you. Good? So right now they have some emergency to fix, so they cannot help you, right? And so you remember the negative form of the simple past, always use didn't, except with the verb to be. As in the second example, if it were not too late, I could draw a new pattern. Okay. So with the verb to be negative, we use only not and not didn't. Great. If the engineers were more efficient, the designer would be ready by now. The design, would be ready by now. Good. If you had a driving license, would you get here by car? So if you have the question will be in the conditional form, in the second part of the sentence. Good. If you had a driving license, that means that you don't have one. Would you get here by car? Would you get to work by car? Right? It would be a relief for everybody if he put more effort into his work. Again, we imagine a situation. We might get new employees if the employment agency received some candidates. In that situation, we understand that the employment agency doesn't receive any candidates right now. So that's why we don't have more employees. But we imagine that if they received more candidates, we might get, maybe would have more employees. Good. And then we wouldn't have more benefits if we were unionized, if we were part of a union. And would you hire him if he had a work permit? Another question. So the question is in the conditional part, in the result. So would you hire him if he had a work permit? Good. So that was it for the second conditional.